Ladies, let me tell you something a lot of men won't come out and say, because we like to act like we're simple creatures. But truth be told, men got their own quiet little system for figuring out if a woman is the real deal. And one of the biggest things we test, sometimes without even thinking about it, is consistency. See, chemistry is easy. Anybody can feel sparks on a first date. Anybody can put on the good perfume, wear that outfit that turns heads, give a little extra smile, and laugh at all the right jokes. That's 2 hours of performance. But life ain't a 2-hour show. Life is a whole season, sometimes even a long-running series. And a man who's serious about his future is not looking for a great episode. He's looking for a co-star who can show up every single season. Now, here's the truth. A man pays attention to how you are over time. In the beginning, you might be sweet, patient, and supportive. But what happens 3 weeks later when the bills pile up? Or he's stressed from work, or y'all have your first disagreement. Does that same patience show up? Do you still give him the benefit of the doubt? Or does the switch flip and suddenly he's dealing with a whole different person? See, men are wired to be cautious with their emotions. Most of us have been through enough in life to know that words and charm can't always be trusted. We want to see if the way you treat us when everything is going right matches the way you treat us when it's a little rough. If you're warm, supportive, and respectful when things are smooth, but cold, sarcastic, and dismissive when it gets bumpy, we notice. Oh, trust me, we notice. Consistency to a man is like a security system. It lets him know that no matter what's going on outside, in work, in life, in the world, the relationship is still a safe place to come home to. And that's a big deal, because men don't open up just anywhere. Most of us only have a handful of people we let see the real us. No filters, no armor, no bravado. And if you're one of those people, we're checking to make sure you can handle that responsibility without flipping on us. And don't get it twisted. This ain't about perfection. Nobody's expecting you to be happy 24/7 or never get irritated. Men don't need a Stepford wife, they need a consistent partner. Consistency just means the core of who you are doesn't change depending on the weather. If you say you're honest, we want to see honesty when it's inconvenient. If you say you're caring, we want to see care when it's not romantic and candlelit. If you say you're a team player, we want to see you suit up even when the game is ugly. Ladies, here's a little secret. Sometimes men will deliberately do small things to see if your behavior shifts. It's not about playing games. It's about protecting ourselves. He might have a bad day and be less talkative. He might say to something just to see how you react. He might stop initiating texts for a couple of days to check if you keep the same energy without constant attention. Again, not because he's trying to punish you, but because he's seeing if your interest is real or just situational. If you want to pass this test, it's not about pretending or trying harder. It's about being genuine from day one. Don't start with a version of yourself you can't maintain. If you're naturally warm, be warm. If you need space sometimes, be upfront about it. If you're a woman who likes direct communication, show that early. That way the man sees the real you from the start, and there's nothing to catch later. Men also pay attention to consistency in how you treat other people. Because how you treat the waiter, the Uber driver, or the woman who gets your coffee wrong tells us a lot about how you'll treat us when you're upset. If you're kind to him but rude to everybody else, that's not real consistency. That's selective performance. At the end of the day, consistency builds trust. And trust is the foundation of love. A man can be crazy about you, but if he can't trust that you'll treat him with the same respect on his worst day as you do on his best day, he'll hesitate to give you all of himself. Chemistry may be what gets his attention, but consistency is what keeps his heart. So if you want a man to see you as forever, material, don't just focus on looking good on the first date. Focus on showing up the same way on the 50th date. Because men may be simple in some ways, but we're serious about this a woman who is consistent in her respect, her energy, and her honesty will always be 10 times more valuable than one who just knows how to shine for a couple of hours. Consistency is the quiet love language. It's the thing that says, you can count on me. I'm here for the long haul. And for a man who's been through enough to know that love is more than just butterflies, that's the loudest and clearest message you could ever send. Ladies, let's keep it real. Every man who's been around the block has a radar for this one. Because when a man steps into the dating world, he knows there's a difference between a woman who loves him and a woman who loves what comes with him. And believe me, we're watching closely to figure out which one you are. Here's why this matters so men want to feel chosen for who they are, not just for what they can hand over. A man's money, status, or resources might get attention. But attention isn't the same thing as affection. You can be fascinated with the lifestyle without being invested in the man living it. And deep down, men can feel the difference. Sometimes faster than you think. See, in the early stages, most men will show their best side. They might take you to nice places, open doors, pick up the bill, maybe even surprise you with gifts. That's part of courting, and real men don't mind doing it. But while they're doing that, they're quietly asking themselves, if all this went away tomorrow, would she still be here? That question right there is the core of this test. Men want to know if your interest is tied to their presence or their provisions. And they'll pay attention to little clues. Maybe they suggest a low-key date instead of the fancy spot you love. Do you still show up with the same smile? Maybe they talk about a dream they have that's going to take years to build. Do you encourage them or get impatient? Maybe they're between paychecks and can't splurge like usual. Do you stick around or suddenly get too busy to meet up? Men also notice how you react to their time. You can buy gifts, you can spend money, but you can't buy more hours in a day if a man makes time for you, even when his schedule is packed. And you take it for granted or act like it's not enough, unless it's attached to a big night out. That's a red flag for him. Time is a man's most valuable currency, and the woman who values it will always stand out from the ones who just value the extras. Now, let's talk about dreams. Every man who's building something, whether it's a career, a business, or a personal goal, is looking for a partner who believes in that vision. It's easy to cheer for a man when the dream is already paying off. But when he's in the grind phase, before the results are showing, that's when he's really watching. If you only seem excited when there's a reward for you, he'll clock that. But if you can be supportive, when the only thing on the table is belief, he'll remember that forever. And ladies, let me drop this in your lap. Sometimes men will deliberately slow down the stress just to see how you respond. It's not always about playing games. It's about peace of mind. If a man senses that you're only sticking around because of the spotlight, he shines. He'll start dimming it to see if you're still there in the dark. That's not petty. That's self-protection. There's also character. Men watch how you treat them when they have nothing to offer in the moment except themselves. If a man has a rough week, doesn't have the energy to plan something special, or is going through a setback, how you respond is the answer to his question. Do you still engage with him like he's valuable? Or do you withdraw because the benefits aren't flowing? And here's the part some people don't want to hear. You can't fake this test long term. You can pretend for a while, sure, but sooner or later, your intentions will show. If you're in it for what he provides, the minute the flow slows down, so will your interest. And that's exactly what he's watching for. But if you're genuinely in it for him, it's going to show naturally. You'll care about his wins and losses, not just what they mean for you. You'll be happy in the quiet moments without the fancy backdrop. You'll see the value in the man, not just the menu or the material things. And that right there is what earns a man's trust. Because when he sees that you love him, not for his resources, you unlock a different side of him. The side that will go harder to provide, more to protect, and deeper to commit. So here's the truth: men aren't against giving. They're against giving to someone who wouldn't stick around without the gifts. That's why this test matters. If you want to pass it, don't just fall for the dinners, gifts, and spotlight. Fall for the man. Value his time. Cheer for his dreams. Appreciate his character. Because at the end of the day, the man who knows you're about him, not just about what he provides, will give you more than you ever thought to ask for. Ladies, let's get straight to it. Men are always trying to figure out if you're truly into them or if you're into the benefits that come with them. And believe me, we're not always obvious about it. This is one of those quiet tests men run in the background, and most of the time, you won't even know it's happening. Here's the thing: a man's time, energy, and resources are valuable to him. He might be willing to give them generously, but he wants to be sure they're going to someone who values him, not just what he can do. Because there's a big difference between loving a man and loving his lifestyle. And men can feel that difference. When a man meets a woman, especially if he's a giver by nature, he might take her to nice restaurants, surprise her with thoughtful gifts, and make her feel special. That's how he expresses interest. But while he's doing all of that, part of his mind is wondering, if all of this stopped tomorrow, if I couldn't spend like this, if the spotlight wasn't so bright, would she still want to be here? Men watch for signs. He might plan a simple date, a walk in the park, a casual coffee shop meetup, just to see how you react. If you act bored, distracted, or like you're settling for less, that's a big red flag for him. But if you show up with the same energy you have for a fine dining night out, that tells him you value the man, not the menu. It's not just about money. It's about time. Time is one thing a man can't buy back. If he chooses to spend his free hours with you, when he could be working, resting, or hanging with friends, that's a statement. Men pay attention to whether you appreciate that time or take it for granted. If you measure his worth only by the size of his wallet and not by the size of his effort, he notices. Then there are his dreams. Every man who's building something, whether it's a career, a business, or a personal goal, wants to know if you're with him for the whole journey, not just the destination. It's easy to stand by a man when the dream is paying off and the rewards are rolling in. But the real test is whether you're there when he's still in the grind phase, putting in long hours with nothing to show for it yet. That's when a man is quietly looking to see, are you rooting for him? Or just rooting for the results you can benefit from? Here's another layer men sometimes pull back on the extras on purpose. They might skip the gifts for a while, plan something less flashy, or hold back from over. Giving, not to punish you, but to see if the connection still feels solid without the bells and whistles. It's a reality check for them, a way of asking without words. Are you here because you like me, or because you like the perks? And then there's character. Men notice how you treat them when they have nothing to offer but themselves. If he's having a rough week, feeling unmotivated, or just going through a dry season, your reaction speaks volumes. Do you still treat him with the same respect, or do you pull away until the benefits start flowing again? Here's the truth. You can only fake this for so long. If you're really about the lifestyle and not the man, that'll show the moment the benefits slow down. But if you're genuinely about him, that'll also show in the way you talk to him, in the way you show up when there's nothing extra on the table, in the way you support his dreams even before they pay off. The women who pass this test don't have to force it. They enjoy the simple moments just as much as the grand ones. They make a man feel valuable even when he's not performing at his peak. They show interest in his goals, his thoughts, and his heart, not just in what he can provide at the moment. And here's the reward for passing. When a man knows you're about him, and not just the perks, he'll give you more than you ever imagined. Because once he trusts that your love isn't conditional, he'll open the floodgates. His time, his protection, his resources, his commitment. That's when you see the best of a man. So, ladies, the next time you're with a man, ask yourself, if everything he provides disappeared tomorrow, would you still want him? If the answer is yes, you're exactly the kind of woman he's hoping to find. Because at the end of the day, the gifts, the dinners, the spotlight, those are nice. But to a man who's looking for real love, nothing beats knowing that the woman beside him is there for him, no matter what.